It is Midweek Extra. It is John Gibbons. We are in association with NordVPN for this small run of Midweek Extra shows, and I'm joined by Josh Williams, by Ali Gunn, and by Mike Kearney. And we're going to talk, obviously, a lot about last night, so part one and part two are going to be slightly different. I want to talk about the attack in part one. I want to talk about the defence in part two. I'm going to come on to talk about Manchester City as well. There's been a very early press conference as well. I don't know if the boys have seen it. Might have caught you out of it. It certainly caught us out at Anfield Wrap Towers this morning, but he's done a press conference at 10:30. So we'll pull in some of the quotes from that as well, because there's some interesting ones there, certainly with regards to the forward. But that's sort of how I wanted to split up this show, because there is two ways of looking at a 2-all draw, Josh, and we've had a few of them. So they're not rare for Liverpool Football Club to draw games 2-all. There's different ways of looking at them. You can look at it from a point of view of we should have scored more goals, and that's an easy one to do when you miss the chance we did. Or you can look at it from a point of view of why do we keep conceding 2 on the road and be expected to win it. But let's do the attack first. It is big missed chances, and it's a growing feeling that there's a number 9 issue at Liverpool Football Club.
Yeah, I agree. I think we created more than enough to put the game to bed, and didn't. So I'm glad we're doing this therapy session this morning. I could do with this.
I'm always here to help you, Josh.
Yeah, all the time, mate. Might have a little go on a peloton after this as well. Just to, yeah, I think we created more than enough to put the game away and didn't. And at the opposite end, they scored 2 of their first 3 shots, which is very annoying, obviously. But sometimes you have days like this, to be fair, and a lot of the times you lose these games. So the fact that we drew, I suppose, isn't the worst thing in the world, but it's just so annoying. You can tell I'm a little bit like, you know, one of them where I feel like we've missed an opportunity a little bit there. I thought we were going to win this game, and Villa had a fair few injuries. Emery comes out and says he doesn't want to play this game at this point of the season. He thought it could have been later. You know, we take a lead. It's the first time all season where we've took a lead in the Premier League and not gone on to win.
Is that right?
Yeah. At 2-all, there's an obvious sitter, which I'm sure we'll get on, and it gets missed. Later in the game, I think there's like a one-on-one with Emi Martinez, who's like 40 yards from his goal. Again, that doesn't come to anything. So just a really annoying game. But you do have them over the course of a season, and I suppose sometimes you lose them, and we really needed it at the very end as well. So I don't know, pros and cons.
I mean, if they'd have lost it, then, you know, I don't think I'd be able to do any therapy sessions. I'd be just wandering the streets, Ali, trying to record a Midweek Extra that way. Man on his own by the Mersey. But we didn't. But it doesn't feel like we're as clinical as we were earlier in the season, and that's the thing for me. And you know, there's the big chances we create in this game, but we're actually creating fairly decent chances throughout it. I thought we started well, and there's, you know, we're working players into decent positions, and we're just not quite getting there. And it's a frustrating one for me when you sort of watch them, because I think the main thing I want to see from Liverpool, especially away from home, is getting on top, and we did it. And so you feel like we're doing the hard part. You know, I'm watching the game, agree with Josh, thinking we're going to win this one because we're at it today. We're playing well. We're pulling them around. They didn't look sort of quite there. Obviously, they've got new players, you know, coming in and things like that. It did feel to me a good time to play them. I agree with Unai Emery on that. And so it did feel like it was all set up there for win. And then when the chances come and chances go, and then we get gifted the first goal but can't make the most of it. What do you think from an attacking point of view? What do you think is not quite clicking for Liverpool at the moment, or not quite going right for Liverpool?
It's difficult to put a specific sort of finger on it. And I sort of sat there last night after the game and sort of racked my brain. I don't know whether we've started to do a bit more consistent rotation. I don't know whether rotation's starting to come into it. Obviously, Jones playing off the left last night was different to what we're used to. I just think we were always going to go through what I wouldn't say a trough, but a dip in the season where the clinical edge we had would have dropped off slightly. But I don't think we're enjoying it as much at this point in the season, where we could really do with, like you said last night, the confidence we had going into that fixture. I mean, Tom Fahey put on Twitter before that their defensive fragility meant that Emery last night seemed to go all out attack. And by the look of the first 10 minutes, they are so defensively fragile that you thought, okay, we're going to be on top here and we're going to sort of put a stamp and an authority on this game. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to say that it's a problem. I don't think it's a problem. Like you said, we created good chances, but the clinical edge seems to be missing. And I don't know whether it's a case of confidence in certain players. Obviously, we know in one player it's confidence, and the manager's just come out in the press conference and said he was particularly annoyed with Nunez because he didn't impact the game after he'd made that initial miss. And after that, then you're constantly sort of on the back foot with him because he's not impacting game. And then we started to sort of try and utilise Mo Salah a bit more in the last 10 or 15 minutes. But Mo Salah can only do so much, and he did a lot in that game as it is. So I don't know whether the clinical edge is down to rotation, that we're obviously putting Jota back in, whether Diaz is now being rotated, Gakpo's obviously been injured. But I think whatever does need to happen, it needs to happen fast again because these games are coming thick and fast. So yeah, frustrating. I don't deem it as a worry, but I think it needs to be something that it should be rectified pretty quickly.
Okay, let's do the slot on Nunez quotes then. Ali's just mentioned it. He says, Mike, I can accept every miss, especially from a player who scored 2 very important goals for Brentford. I would prefer him to score, but the weird chance says it all. I can accept it, but what was harder was his behaviour after that chance. He got too much in his head and he wasn't the usual Darwin that works his backside off. I haven't heard him say backside, but I'd like to.
He didn't say backside.
Did he say arse?
He said arse.
Because well, the Echo, well, come on, Echo, you can say arse. What's the matter with you? Come on. Woke nonsense. Anyway, he was too disappointed after missing it, and that's why he was a fraction short. It's always best to have Endo's mindset that he keeps going and is always ready. Not many can do this. It's not about the chance, it's the 20 minutes after. I want to talk to Darwin about. It is worth reading the full quote because they've been sort of shortened to make it seem harsher than what I think it is when you read when you read them out in full. I think as well, we need to remember he's not talking in his first language, so when he says words like behaviour, it might not necessarily be the way I would sort of use that. Behaviour almost sounds like he was acting out. Do you know what I mean? I think he means it means more demeanour and you know, how he was, rather than sort of, you know, bad behaviour, if you like. I think that's what we associate it with. But it's interesting that he is sort of picked up on it and he is sort of said that, because obviously I did the post-match audio show and we were pretty heavy on that. You know, any striker can miss a chance. Yeah, Darwin misses more than he probably should, but any striker can miss that. But it's more what comes after that worries you more, really, because, you know, elite forwards just put it out the head and he just can't seem to.
Yeah, I think this is the thing with Nunez, isn't it? We're all dragged back in by Brentford, Forest and Newcastle, other winning goals gone by, and then once he goes on runs and does effective things in the team. But I don't think there was a Liverpool player out there, I meant to say fan there, but player, you know, a Freudian slip. I don't think there was a player or fan that thought, oh, he's missed that one, but he'll take the next one, because you just knew it was going to impact him a little bit. And I think there's one where he tries to play a ball into Szoboszlai doesn't run him behind, and then there's the school of thought of, well, Nunez hasn't played the right ball, which I thought at first, but then when you look back, you think maybe Szoboszlai should just run him behind. And then again on the
Do you not think if he's just more confident, he just finds a way to shoot, though?
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like he's sort of desperate to pass. Do you know what I mean? I'm just thinking, like, just shift it and shoot, and it might take a deflection and go in.
Go in, yeah. It is a concern, and as you said about the behaviour thing, it probably sort of means demeanour or attitude or whatever. It's just we've been. I imagine, look, we've not played anywhere near the same level, but you've all been there and you've missed a chance and you've got, if only I'd have just done this, and then
I've never missed a chance.
The elite thing to do is just go, yeah, sound. I'll take the next one, and not sort of try and get out of the way of getting in the next one's path, if you get me. Look, you can analyse all of that till the cows come home. What happened round the goal? Watching it back, I also sort of think, like, there's a school of thought that Szoboszlai should shoot. I think he may have done it had he been playing for Hungary. Bit more responsibility on his shoulders, but at Liverpool you can play it across to another world-class player and he'll just tap it in, and he didn't. And you know, let's have it right, it did affect his performance. It did get in the team's head for the next 20 minutes or so. It's not like we didn't have a chance after it, as Josh mentioned, the one-on-one where it sort of didn't happen after that point, but it did feel like a bit of a deflating moment in the game. and look, they're all ifs and buts, aren't they? You know, if we did hold off on them subs for 5 or 10 more minutes, who says we don't go 1-0 up, then we make the subs, and we're all sitting around this table talking about how much of a genius he is at interpreting the game and the flow of a game. Who knows? That may have been a sort of sports science sub, get them off at this point, whatever, we don't know. All we do know is what happens. And the 2 players that came on, by the way, you know, Bradley puts a ball through to set that chance up, and the other one, sadly for us, doesn't put it in the net, and sadly for him as well, to be honest, because he's a part of the squad that we're going to need for the rest of the season. His chin's going to need picking up off the floor, and the belief to be able to do what he did against Brentford, and as I mentioned, the likes of Forest and stuff in the past, you know, it's in there, it's a part of this player which is so frustrating. And if it's frustrating for us, it's obviously going to be frustrating for himself, but and also his teammates.
That's the situation the manager's in, is that he's got him till the summer now, at least, Darwin Nunez, and he doesn't seem to completely fancy Chiesa in these big moments or these important games, or, you know, the hustle and bustle of the Premier League. Elliott could potentially be another attacking option for him, but he doesn't seem to fancy him either. And Gakpo has got this injury. He's saying it's going to be touch and go in the press conference for him sort of on Sunday. Diaz is an interesting one, seems to have fallen a little bit out of favour as well, or maybe he's just trying to sort of take him out, but I'm not sure. But the point is, he's going to have to play someone. He's managing Jota at the moment, and so when Jota's not on the pitch, either by choice or if he sort of breaks down again, he knows that the manager, he thinks, well, I can't completely bomb this fella out because I might have to go back to him in 2 weeks and ask him to either play or at least play a part of a game.
Yeah, I like his comments, actually. I watched the press, and seeing him call out his demeanour or attitude or behaviour, however you want to put it, I was into that, because watching the game,
yeah,
you know, he's right. Players can miss chances, and Darwin's very annoying because he misses a lot of them. But I was just as frustrated with after it, where he was just kind of letting players walk through, and he was like, you know, just floating a bit in his own head and that. So in that situation, you know, links to Saudi and things, it can look like he doesn't fancy it. It can look like he's not really bothered, and he's checked out a little bit. When you're getting the most out of Nunez, he looks like the opposite, even if he is leaving in the summer or whatever. He looks like he's really committed to the cause, and he'll put his body on the line and all that. And the last time we saw something like this was Trent against Man United, where he's kind of just floating, pretending, gesturing to defend, gets called out a few days later. You know, the fans get on his back, Slot runs him through it, and on the back of that, Trent was a different player, I felt, with his application. So you'd hope on the back of this, Slot said he's going to have a word with him, and I think he's spot on. I think hopefully Nunez listens to him, because the bare minimum that we can expect from you is you know, the empty the tank, basically. And I think after those misses, whether it was the misses or not, he looked like he wasn't really as fussed as someone like an Elliott would be if Elliott got a chance to come on. So you got to get that right, like.
Why did he talk about Mark Lawrenson, by the way, if you watched it? Was he prompted?
Well, it goes back to what Mike's just said, yeah. He says no one can understand the Bradley sub, you know, bringing off Trent, because Trent was playing well at the time. He's just scored, and he just says, I was listening to TalkSport on the way in, and Mark Lawrenson,
that's his first
couldn't
mistake.
get his head. Yeah, Mark Lawrenson couldn't get his head around the subs, and he basically just said it was a sports science thing.
Yeah.
We need these players for another 12 games, Champions League games, a final. So we need to think about that stuff.
We need to get a message to him somehow. We'll just say, like, flat, I'll get him an Anfield Wrap subscription. I'll send him that. He can listen to Neil tell about Johnny. He was a good player 7 times in the first 2 minutes.
Get him on
last
the
night.
trends, mate.
Yeah, I mean, of course he will be. He probably gets said that direct.
Yeah, that's probably
do you
it,
know what I mean? On the good gear. But yeah, swerve them, lad. Swerve them. Yeah, no, I just wondered, because I saw the quotes and I was like, did someone say to him, what do you think about what Matt Malone said? or is he, yeah, obviously he's listening to TalkSport. So thanks a lot. Jota, what do you make of Jota last night? He's the other one. He's the other sort of number 9 option we've got. He misses a sitter, he hits the bar, he gets a decent assist.
There's a header in there as well, which, you know, he
The free header, wasn't it, as well?
Yeah.
well, it's near post, like, but he sometimes puts them away, don't he? Do you know what I mean? So
He should do better with it.
Yeah.
Whether he should score is pushing it, but he said he should do better. What do you make of him, Ali?
I think it's an interesting one with Jota, because I kind of go through this every time he goes from injury to fitness, and I think that a Diogo Jota with 7 or 8 games under his belt probably scores one, if not impacts the goal, or maybe 1 or 2 more, like you said with the header. I think what you could see last night is his general sort of open play and his pressing is something that the manager really likes and really highlights, and that's where sort of the first goal comes from. And I think compared to someone like Nunez, that's what obviously Slot thinks is his ideal number 9. Now, I think obviously the chances that he's missed last night were of greater significance because of how the game played out. Obviously, the miss that he had when he was kind of through 1-on-1, it was 2-1 at that point, or 1-1. It was at a point in the game where we could have done with him scoring, and he's missed it. And you think a fully fit Diogo Jota would be scoring that. You'd be absolutely confident. But again, I think we're at that point in the season where we can't really do without these misses. We can't really do without these inconsistencies. But it's the hand we've been dealt, because the manager's not happy with putting in someone like Chiesa from the start. He doesn't really fancy putting Salah down the middle like the previous manager did. I did think that may have become an option yesterday over Darwin Nunez, but it didn't sort of play out that way. So I think Diogo Jota he's incredibly important when he's on the pitch. The problem is it's now building him up to such a level that he can be on the pitch consistently, but you can't hang your hat on him to be on the pitch consistently. So you're kind of in this constant vicious cycle with him where you know that he could score in the next, well, has the opportunity to score in the next 3, but then the following 3 he might be on the bench again or out the squad because he's injured. So I find him as great to watch as I do frustrating, because he's in that build-up phase again. And I think we could do with a fully fit Diogo Jota, especially on Sunday at the Etihad, because he offers something completely different, like you said, in the air and sort of his link-up play, especially obviously seeing from the first goal. So I don't know. I want to scratch off the miss. I want to do that. I want to give him sort of the freedom and give him a bit of leeway on the miss. But fuck me, I'd have much preferred if he just put it in the back of the net.
I mean, we all would. I think it is fair to say, Mike. I'll read out the Jota quotes. The Slot quotes on Jota. I very rarely get to do this on Midweek Extra, so I'm going to use every opportunity. Slot said, apart from Jota hitting the target, he gave a great assist too. So it tells you how disappointed I was to see him miss so much. It tells you how much of a miss it is been not to have him. I would love to play him 90 minutes every game, but he's been out and returning and then injured again. So I hope people understand why I'm so cautious whether we have to keep him for 12 Premier League games, Champions League and League Cup final. Not an easy balance to find. I would love to keep him in the team as he is playing so well as Trent. He's, he seems fairly sure and adamant there that Jota's his main guy. I mean, that might be his main guy of his options. Whether he's his main guy next season, we're going to have to sort of see. But it seems to me that, he's saying there, and from the fact that he's picked him sort of twice in a row, that, if you could have any of them fit number 9, it'd be Diogo Jota.
Yeah, I think we're in his team as well, especially where basically the number 9's not doing all sorts of mad stuff, and we're needing him to score goals. Well, Jota does that, and that's his thing, isn't it? And when sort of you're not doing that, that's when we're all wondering then, if Jota's not doing that, then who else have we got? What have we got? Like Gakpo's out, Nunez comes on, Kay's on the bench. Does he go down the middle with Salah like Ali said? I don't know. That him not doing his thing is why we're all having this conversation about number 9. What happens in the summer? Do we lose 2 of Jota, Nunez and Diaz? Do we lose 3 and spend a load of money on Isak? Don't know. That's a future debate. What we've got now is 12 games left in the league, however far we can get in the Champions League and a final, and we all want to win every single game, but we know that's not going to happen. So there's some games where you'll draw, some games where you'll be out of it and look like you're losing, and then someone will pop up with a last minute, equaliser. And we need to have these players fit enough and who are capable of doing that, to be able to do that in every single game that we find ourselves in. This is why, obviously, Slot and all the team know more about what players are at the level, etc. And there'll be old school managers and us even. I said it before. Maybe if he just hung on 5-10 minutes, would he have scored? Yeah, he might have done. but you know, running onto the ball to score, would his hamstring have gone? It's all unquantifiable, isn't it? And unknowns, and would we be short-term delighted that yet we've won the game, but then Jota's out for the rest of the season? Where do we find ourselves then? It's all a case of like these mad unanswerable questions, because what happens, and it can't be changed. And having to go into City now at the weekend, where a point isn't a bad result, by the way, but there's probably a growing feeling of, we dropped against Everton, we dropped against Villa, haven't led in the games both times, and not seen it through. We haven't kept a clean sheet in 3 clean sheets in the last 13 or something like that. I think I seen it was on Twitter last night.
Part 2 of the defence, Mike.
Is it?
I mean, you've gone on to part 3 there. A cheeky part 3. You did a little bit off, buddy. I'm going to draw the line there.
So there's other issues as well as the forwards in the whole team, and it's Slot's job to balance every single one of them. And look, as much as we might not like it, part of that is keeping them fit when they are a risk like Jota. You know, if there's one player that we said about Sturridge in the past, haven't we? We'd love him to stay fit because he'd score goals, and God knows how high end he'd have ended up on the all-time scorers list. Part of the reason Mo Salah's such a good footballer is because he's always available, and then he's at this stupid level where he just puts balls in the net and sets people up to do the same. Phenomenal player, and if we keep Jota fit by getting him, I don't know, 60 to 70 minutes in these games that he starts, and then maybe 20s off the bench in the ones he doesn't, that might be our way home. And that's I think that's inevitably what we're moving towards if he's coming off in these games, unless he manages to get himself fit enough to be able to do 90 once a week before the end of the season. Then we might see a different story then.
The one Jota hit the bar from was probably his toughest chance, which is the irony for not just him but for many forwards. Really, he really gets hold of that. And to be honest, it doesn't ever look like it's going in. You know, I was in the ground and we were that end, and it sort of surprises you a bit when it hits the post. And so it's one of those where you're not exactly sort of, you know, thinking it's a goal, but it's a really good strike, and you know he shows he can hit the ball well, which makes the real bad miss. I know you mentioned there the header, but the real bad one-on-one miss even more mystifying. Just how badly he hits the ball.
Yeah, I think the one-on-one was the worst one. Like he hits the corner flag, I think, didn't he? I mean, you can miss headers, but I think one of the reasons we expect Jota to put them away is because he's so two-footed. He's so good in the air for his height. So he's got that range of, you know, different finishes and that. He can do different things to put the ball in the net. So it was a relatively off day for him. Like, I have got a question though for the room.
Okay.
Important one, I think. So Szoboszlai with Nunez.
Yeah.
Should he pass or not? I think that's a big thing.
So my thing is, I don't think he should have passed, because I think you just add in another complication to what needs to be done. So I don't think he should, but he nails it. So it's like Darwin Nunez away at Brentford last year when he does that finish.
Yeah.
It's like that's a stupid thing to do in that situation, but he scores, so it's fine.
Looks like a genius.
So you can't really argue. And so for me, it's not as simple as saying, well, he's got a better chance to pass to him, because I think you've got to. I'm going to get into realms of probability, and I'm not the greatest mathematician here.
Sure, didn't get chat coming up in a minute.
So forgive me. But basically, people say, you know, it's the ideal of football is it'll pass someone who's in a better position to you. But I think you need to factor in how hard the pass is. So basically, if you've got a 1 in 4 chance of scoring and the other fella has got a 1 in 3 chance, then in theory you should pass. But if you've only got a 1 in 2 chance of making that pass, then you shouldn't. Does that make sense?
I absolutely get it.
Yeah. So
this is my kind of convo.
So those so those numbers aren't perfect for last night, because you know it's like XG's put it at 0.8 or something like that. I've seen a few variations, but it's around that. You should score 4 in 5 times, and so it's better than a 1 in 2 chance that I've sort of said there. But what's Szoboszlai? Szoboszlai's got a decent. I'd say it's 1 in 2 to sort of score from there. But the pass is so difficult because you see it from the freeze frame. He's not even in the box yet, is he? He's sort of running through onto it. You've got the fella who's tearing back. Is it the Sassy, as you pronounce it? Is it the defender sort of coming back? I thought their centre-halves play well, by the way, because considering Tino Mings looked fucked from about 50 minutes, I thought he did incredible. Then he popped up left wing in stoppage time. I was like, fucking hell, lad, you're putting a shift in. Go away. But for me, so I know this sounds like a bit of a cop-out, but he's made the wrong decision just because of how hard the pass is. But he makes the pass. The pass is unbelievable. It's perfect. It's so hard because like he's got no margin of error really, and he absolutely nails it. But then I do think, well, if you can pass it that precisely into that space, then just pass it into the corner.
Well, yeah, I was going to say I love where Gibbo's gone with that as well.
Yeah, I've absolutely sent you right there.
That is unbelievable. I'm a little bit more cutting just to turn around and say, if it's Darwin Nunez there, I wouldn't have passed it. I'd have just shot. If it was Mo Salah there, I'd have passed it. That's probably where I stand on it, because I just think if you're at that point, if you're in that closer proximity to the goal, like Gibbo said then, the pass has to be perfect, and it was. It was an immaculate pass, but I just think it's just not a risk you take when you're effectively one-on-one, and Martinez is rushed out at such a rate of knots. I think you just got to be selfish and back yourself there.
I actually think there's an argument to suggest only Nunez makes it though, because of that sprint. Nunez is obviously quick off the mark, and he's already running at top speed anyway, so he gets there just ahead of the Zazi. But I think a lot of other players, I don't think he should play the pass. Personally, I think he's improved Liverpool's chances of scoring, which conflicts with what I've just said.
Yeah.
But I think he's fortunate that Nunez gets there. I think he's fortunate that he makes the pass, because it is a difficult pass.
Well, if it gets intercepted, everyone just goes mad at him.
Yeah, but this is the thing. One thing I find very frustrating with it is I think it's indicative of an element of Szoboszlai's game, and it does me head in. So he's a really good striker of the ball, Szoboszlai, right? But so often, mate, I could find 20 clips from this season alone, but I could find about 3, I think, from the Villa game alone. For some reason, he will not pull the trigger, and it does me head in. There's so many opportunities where he's there, he's in a good spot, and have you seen that meme with the galaxy brain? Yeah. The meme where you're overthinking the life out of it. What are you doing, mate? Just shoot. A lot of the time, it's as simple as that, really. And
well, he had the chance to cross it in the second half as well, and he almost had too many options, and then he ended up sort of going back himself. Curtis Jones is going mad because we had about 4 men in the box, and it's almost like too many. And he should have just done the percentage thing. He's just gone like hard across and see what happens.
It reminds me of that. We've all played with those players, right? Who you're the obvious simple pass. Just give me the ball, and he'll do something stupid and try and look almost too smart. I think Szoboszlai has got that in him, and with the shooting thing, I've said to mates, I think he almost plays the game right. Like if he doesn't score but shoots, he will get fined. That's how he plays the game. He shoots like, I will only shoot here if I'm certain it's going in, because if it's not, I'm passing it or I'm doing something silly with it.
Like you play heads and volleys when you were a kid, and if sometimes some rules you miss, you have to go in. Does he play like he misses? If he misses, he has to go in.
That's a great example. Yeah, definitely, mate. So honestly, if I'm Slot, I'm pulling him in the office, mate, and I'm showing him about 50 clips until he starts crying. Have you seen Severance?
Yeah.
Seen the break room, mate? When he starts, I don't quite believe you. You're going to watch them again until he starts actually shooting and taking them on his own back, like. But yeah, annoying. That's just a little gripe I've got with Szoboszlai. That's an ongoing thing. And
well, I'm glad you got off the chest. You did say it was a therapy session.
So we
need to get all these things off our chest there.
Yeah, need to calm down.
Well, we'll have a little short break there. Josh is going to have some glass of water, and then we're going to talk about the defence.
Cold bath.
Okay, we are back in the room, and we are going to talk a little bit about the defence. And I'll start with you this time, Ali. I don't know what that was. Something happened.
That was me still fuming. That.
Josh is backing things up, so I will go to Ali first on the defence. The attackers missed a lot. We've slaughtered them, but I think some of them, I mean, Mo Salah more than others, might be within his rights to go, yeah, but any hopes of a clean sheet, lads. We've conceded twice or more, quite a lot in games this season, and we've scored twice or more in a lot of games and not won. So you think about this one, you think about Everton, they score 2, they don't win. You think about Newcastle, they score 3 and they don't win. I think what early in the game they sort of win 3-2, they get over the line, and so that's Southampton, I think it is. Yeah, they win 3-2, sort of go over the line. So there's been quite a few where we've got 2 or even 3 goals and not won the game, and as much as missed chances frustrate strikers, you imagine that's frustrating strikers a little bit as well.
Yeah, and the thing that frustrated me last night, and this seems to be a little bit indicative of the goals that we've conceded recently, is, today, obviously, I imagine the manager's gone in the office and he could look at both of Villa's goals and go, what are we doing? We know how to stop that. I mean, the first goal is just the second ball. The second ball was won by a Villa bloke, and then Szoboszlai's headed the ball out. Do you know what I mean? That it's I say basic football, but it's Sunday League football where you think it's a set piece. We should really be mopping it up. We should really be sorting that out. It shouldn't take 20 seconds from the ball to leave someone's foot for them to then score, and it still just be around our 6-yard box. The same with the second goal. Watkins was the player that passed it to Digne and ran off the back of both Szoboszlai and McAllister. And you think, boys, it's to a certain extent, it's not acceptable, because he has just strolled into the box after playing a 1-2 on the edge of the box and got himself on the end of it. And so I think, like you said, the forwards having gripe, with the team having gripe potentially about the lack of the clinical sort of nature of how we've been playing recently. But I think there is a little bit of a look at what's going on at the back to go, we should be able to sort this. Sometimes, like the Cunha goal at the weekend, I think there is to a certain extent, in my opinion, you sometimes have to hold your hands up and go, it's a great finish. Now, Gravenberch should have probably stopped it, but it's a great finish.
Yeah, there's always a tiny way you could have sort of stopped the goal, but you're not going to concede 0 because the other team have got good players.
Exactly. Whereas last night I looked at that and I thought, I think we should have been able to have stopped it a little bit more at source, because, again, you could go back to the second goal and the McGinn potential handball, but there were 7-8 passes prior to Watkins getting his head on, and they played through us relatively well, but it shouldn't be happening. And I think that's sort of, with the goals we conceded recently, it's something that I think is going to make the manager particularly irate, is the fact that they're things that we should be able to stop it getting as far as it does. And for me, again, last night, the second goal, again, I was so furious with it, because I just think a lot of that actually is basic communication as well. And I don't want to start turning around and telling professional footballers how to play football, but he's run off.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do it. Fuck it. Why not?
That's why we're here, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But I just think, like, when he's run off the back of Dom there, he's then gone on to McAllister, and you think all that is a shout or a call, or if he's running off again there, and he just strolls past and no one picks him up, no one identifies it, and I think, like you said, that's going to be a frustration across the whole team, because you think we didn't need that. We didn't need to concede in that manner, and especially when it turns it into 2 after being 1-0 up. So I think the manager will be content with the fact he knows where the problems are, so he should be able to solve them, or at least have analysis meetings to go, look, this can't happen again. But I also think from a team perspective, this needs to really start to be stamped out, because we cannot keep conceding odd goals, off goals, things like that, and definitely can't be conceding 2 goals, because we all still probably walked out the ground yesterday or walked out the pub and thought, yeah, we still should have won that. We had opportunities to win it. But you're putting yourself in such a difficult position if you're thinking, well, you're 2-1 down, that means we have to score 2. I'd rather we have walked out there with a dirty 1-0 win and it was horrible, and then we can blame a bit of lack of clinical football. But trying to get a result back to 3-2 after being 2-1 down, it's just not what you need at this point in a title race either.
Yeah, more clean sheets would be nice, and certainly clean sheets in tough grounds, and you know, they're giving away, it's not quite soft goals, Mike, but it's like, you know, it's cheapish ones, and the first one, I don't think anyone does anything particularly, you know, massively wrong. Even the Szoboszlai header, I think it's a really hard one. He's backpedaling. It's a, you know, he's not going to get a big booming clearance from that. Can he go in a slightly different direction? Maybe, but you know, there's always an element of luck in it. But then there's just a few little things like that in a row that lead to someone having a really good chance on goal. And the second one, I think is a little bit to do with the shape. I think we're a bit narrower in midfield because of the extra man there, and so maybe no one's sort of out to him to help out. I think it's really good movement by Watkins. I think it's excellent, and most of the time that header it doesn't go in. That's a hard chance he's made look easy, but at the same time, you feel like you're mitigating them all the time here. Really, when actually that game should have gone into half-time 1-0. There should have been a way. All right, we've had hard lines here. Let's just close it out, regroup, and win the second half. And actually, they go in 2-1 behind, which is pretty criminal, really, based on how that first half had gone. But they sort of only have themselves to blame.
Oh, massively so. Yeah, it always feels like a weird thing to say when you concede in a goal, doesn't it? Because goals are a part of football, but they're always like stopping things at source, and stopping that header being even a chance is what good teams do. We won the league in 1920 with I think 12 or 13 one-score games, like 2-1, 1-0. There wasn't many 3-2s, I don't think, that year, but the sign of a team that can get you there. And look, we are still very much in a great position. Let's not have any if buts or maybes out this. We don't. It's a cliche, but we would have all bitten your hands off to be where we are today, talking about this Liverpool team, and yet we did it up to 2 points. But the fact that the 1-2 was it's a good header, but the 1-2 felt like it was in slow motion, and I felt like I was just watching Luca Dean jogging to cross the ball. I'm like, maybe that's just my perception of it, and maybe I'm wrong. I was like,
he had all the time in the world.
He's fucking going to cross this ball, boys. What are you doing about it? Nothing. Oh, sounds. Oh, well, he's going to have to score a boss header. Oh, well, he's just done it. I was like, oh, Sam, we'll like the urgency of stop this at source. He's a good crosser of the ball. He takes their set pieces, Maybe not let him cross the ball. As Ali said, don't let the man run off your shoulder. Or if you do, say, look, he's your man now. Tom should say to McAllister. McAllister should either follow him or whatever. Maybe Trent is worried about, or Watkins is now there free, and what do I do? And then sort of is too long in deciding that stopping the cross maybe should be an idea. Someone obviously should be over there helping again. It just feels like I don't want to say a passing responsibility, but what else is it? He'll be all right. He'll be all right. I've got Virgil and Kanate behind me. They'll sort it. And then I've got Ali in goal. He'll make a boss save. Just stop these things before they even become a thing. And that's what good defensive teams do. That's what we've done. I don't think I felt comfortable in a lead at the minute, which is mad to say when you consider our start of the season. There's so much control in Liverpool games around slot teams. That's what we've been saying, isn't it? We've all been surprised about how good we are in control of games. And I don't think over the last, maybe not the derby, because there was times in the derby where I thought we were seeing it out well. And I'd look to the ball, and you can talk about refereeing decisions here, there and everywhere, in every single game, give fouls there, whatever, and maybe other results don't happen, but the absolute basic thing you must do is communicate at all times and get through the whole game as a team. And look, I'm not saying you keep a clean sheet every single game, because it's basically impossible. But to get as near as that as possible is to be this cohesive communicating team, which we have been. So I don't know what it is: mental tiredness, physical tiredness, a bit of both. Bit of hard luck, telling yourself a hard luck story that Jota missed a bit of a sitter there before, should have been 2-0 up. At least get to half-time level then, and sort of go again. And you mentioned there it was a bit criminal going in 2-1 down. It did feel as if we'd been mugged. And Villa are a good side, and they'd scored from 2 out of 3 shots on target, was it? I think you said, Josh.
Yeah.
It's there's things we could be doing to be a bit more streetwise about these things. And I think we may have conceded 5 of our last 6 shots on target.
The thing is, though, with that's there's an element of bad fortune about that. Yeah. That's, I saw a lot of people at half time having a go at Liverpool's defending's terrible and all this. And I suppose for the goals in certain situations, yes, it didn't look good at all. But again, to a certain extent, if you get into half time and you've only faced 3 shots, you are doing something right against the ball. If you're only giving away 3 shots at Villa Park against a Champions League team, that's a good defensive performance, generally speaking. The problem is we concede 2 from the first 3 shots. So suddenly we're 2-1 down, and it's come out of nowhere. And I think the frustration for me was the first goal in particular. I could just see it coming. Them wide free kicks right from like a withdrawn space terrify me with Liverpool at the moment, because I just feel like we just keep conceding from corners. Absolutely sound. We've conceded 1 corner in the Premier League all season, and we were 4-0 up against Ipswich at the time. So the whole narrative that we're not very good from set pieces is technically not true, because corners were brilliant. We're absolutely sound defending corners. We're more likely to score than they are from a defensive corner. But the set pieces from a wide area, Newcastle stung us, Mikel Merino stung us against Arsenal at the Emirates, Villa have done it now. We just can't deal with them, and it's annoying me, because it's a low-scoring sport. It doesn't take much for a game to go wrong. We keep getting stung in them situations. So defensively in them, bad. Something to sort out, definitely. And the second goal, I agree with Mike. Stop it off at source, and if you can't stop it off at source, if the ball does come in, don't act like a gang of statues. Actually deal with the ball, and we don't. We just all stand there and just watch Ollie Watkins put the ball in the net. So, yeah, overall, I don't think we were as defensively bad as some have suggested. But the kind of soft, where like, you'll concede 5 goals from 6 on target, that has to stop. That's too easy. But at the same time, you will go through periods of a season where sometimes the ball goes in, sometimes it doesn't, and not a lot between both boxes is changing, if you get what I mean. So hopefully it's just one of them, and you got to bear in mind as well that despite us having that period at the moment, we're still unbeaten in 21. Still haven't lost away from home once in the Premier League all season, I don't think. So it could be worse.
I think that's also part of the reason why we're having these conversations now, is we know we're holding them to such high standards, and we're so frustrated when they do the basic things wrong, is because they've done it right for 95% of the season. And it's coming now at a time where it's an intense and stressful time of the season where if we're on it, we could do without it. And I think that's why the spotlight and the fixation for the manager and for the players and for us as fans is now on, because it's like, well, 3-4 months ago or 2 months ago, we weren't having these conversations because it was being stopped at source commonly, but it was being stopped at source. We weren't conceding 5 of the 6 shots on target. And now we are, and now we're in this sort of difficult point of the season. It's now sort of it's unsettling for us as fans, and evidently it's unsettling for the players as well, because they've started to realise that, okay, we're playing well, and like you said, not a lot's really changed, but their part of the scoreline's changed. Do you know what I mean? Their scoreboard's changed, and then you're constantly thinking, okay, we need to dig ourselves out, and we have been digging ourselves out, and you have to to a certain extent applaud that from the players, but you think, maybe this is a run, maybe this is just a little trough, maybe this is something we need to get out the back end of it, but we need to get out the back end of it fast, because we weren't having these conversations or problems 2 months ago, 6 weeks ago, etc., etc.
You want them to have faith in each other as well, Mike, and you said before about, over-reliance on, they'll sort it, and that's true as well, and you don't want that, but you don't want to start to get like little divisions in the team, especially if the team who were chasing us, look a bit, look united and things like that. But they don't look united. United is shite. Don't worry about them. But they look, there's you sense a bit of a togetherness at Arsenal at the moment that comes from like a bit of a siege mentality and stuff like that. And they've got a young kid who's playing without fear and little things, throw a defensive midfielder up front and he looks like fucking Eusebio. Ask your dad. And so you're up against sort of that really, and then we look like the best gang in town a few months ago, and I don't want them to start to look at each other and go like, oh, you can't rely on him, or we need to sort this, and that could be sort of across the pitch really. I sense with Nunez, he was burning a couple of heads out, in terms of his teammates. You don't want the likes of Mo to start thinking, we can't pass to him or whatever, we'll keep it, there's 3 or 4 of us who are going to sort this. I don't think that's healthy, and I don't think it's necessarily true either. They've all shown that they can play together, and that's why we're going to come on to Sunday in part 3, but that's why you'd love a big win that where everyone delivers. The strikers put the chances away, the defenders keep a clean sheet, and everyone can come out of it thinking, yes, that's what Liverpool's all about, rather at the moment, which feels like it's a little bit disjointed and a little bit ragged.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, as we touched on, it's not a complete lack of effort or desire or attitude or whatever. There's a bit of bad luck going against us at sort of the worst possible time, in terms of it's all going in, conspiring to be, what's going on here. And Van Dijk's come out the other day, didn't he, and said, look, it's going to be a bumpy ride, buckle up, or whatever it was he said. Very true, but he needs to be saying that to the players as well. And I imagine he's not just saying it to the fans and not saying it to his players. He'd be talking through. The mad thing about football is we all, through the COVID thing, we all got to hear the conversations on the pitch, and now we can't. But they're definitely still going on. So there was a funny bit. I thought Robert was trying to tell everyone on the pitch to calm down on Sunday, but it was actually
that was you, Mike.
Yeah, he was looking directly at me.
Mike, calm down and have a word with Steve as well.
There was a fella behind us who don't reckon who's ever been in a game, but he's there every week, and I was like, lads, you've seen us win. The heads were going everywhere, and I think there will be an element of that on the pitch. Like the human beings, they're going to have we need to sort this now, and they're the ones that are in control of doing that. And having this thing of it's like, but I think it's a goldfish thing where like the strikers say, I forgot, I've missed that chance, I'll score the next one. Missed that chance, scored the next one. If you've not, like, a defender and goalkeepers don't really get that sort of thing, do they? If the ball goes over their head and gets tapped in the net, they can't go, I'll defend the next one. But you've got to, and you've got to just think, right, that's gone. Let's not get that in our heads and make it create more chances where they're getting more goals. And look, we can see the 5, haven't we, in our last 3 games, and the Wolves one was mad, because even though when you watch it back, there was no real jeopardy. There was a suggestion of jeopardy in the second half, and like we didn't have a shot on target, which didn't help in the second half. And this game against Villa here, where we've took the lead and then had to come from behind and then missed the chance to go and win it. And what you're saying there about this whole thing of like a United display of attack and defending and a clean sheet and a win, I don't think it's that far away from happening. Maybe even a bounce of a ball. And if it's Sunday, look, it's going to be tough. But if we somehow get a win against City, we'll all come to the side absolutely flying, going, wow, we lost our heads a bit there, didn't we? We drew with our local City rivals. Villa are a good side this year, beat some good Champions League teams. Also other teams in the league around us, they've got took points off them. And then we've got the City and Newcastle game back to back at the end of this like mad run that we've had, where this is where these sorts of players will step up and be the ones that, like, I'll be counted in this game, and we'll all be counted in this game. I'll help my mate out, and I know he'll help me out, and I do think there will be this. We don't want that sort of togetherness falling apart, as you're saying there. I believe these players are far too good and experienced to let that happen, and hopefully, we get through the next couple of games, and you'll see the performance level pick up, and the belief. I don't think it's waned in any way, but to see it back and stronger than ever is what we're all after.
It is what we're all after, indeed. Okay, we're going to talk more about Manchester City in part 3. We'll just have a little break. Okay, back in the room, I've still got Josh, I've still got Ali, and I've still got Mike, and we're going to look ahead to Manchester City on Sunday. But before all that, just want to give a couple of shout-outs. First of all, to NordVPN, who are partnering with us at the moment. We switched them over to Midweek Extra just to let you know about some fantastic offers they have got. If you're not not aware, should I say, of NordVPN, there's loads of benefits to a service like NordVPN. There is heightened internet security, which is obviously really important, especially when you're logging in public Wi-Fi's, phishing and things like that. The internet's a dangerous place at the moment for a variety of reasons, not least everyone trying to steal your data and things like that. So something like NordVPN installed on all your devices can really help with that. And the good thing about NordVPN is with just one subscription, you can download it on up to 10 devices, so you can get everything sorted on one subscription within your your household. But I know for lots of sports fans, the main reason to download NordVPN and to sign up for the services, it allows you at a click of a button. It's so easy, even I can do it, at a click of a button to change your virtual location. So if there's something going on at 3 o'clock on Saturday and you want to be forever blowing bubbles in your house, you can download NordVPN. You can switch your virtual location to, for example, like I do, USA, and then download a package, for example, like Peacock, which is what I've chosen to do, but other packages are very much available for that. Different people use different ones. That's just the one. They had an offer on, so I went with them, and I found it good. And then it allows you, with a click of a virtual location, get yourself, it feels like you're in New York as well. It's quite exciting. Do you know what I mean? All the glamour. Here I am in Manhattan watching a game or watching something. A streaming service, that's what you can go for as well. So if that sounds like a bit of you, if you want to cheer on Jared Bowen on Saturday, then nordvpn.com/TAW. That's nordvpn.com/TAW. That'll give you a really good price, extra deal thrown in there as well. And there's a 30-day money-back guarantee as well. So if you're not sure after 30 days, they are that confident they will give you your money back if you're not enjoying the service as much as I am. So there we are. City, Josh, they got beat last night. I didn't see a kick because I was in Birmingham. But I've seen City get beat this season. They've done quite a lot of it. So it's an easier game in reality that it sort of feels. You know, Manchester City away in the summer probably felt like our toughest game of the season. Now it's not necessarily the case. You feel like they'll be up for it against us, but to be honest, I thought they'd be up for it against Arsenal, and they got absolutely battered. And so it does feel like one where just don't give them any hope, but we fucking love giving hope this season. We're throwing hope around like confetti.
Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic about this one.
Love all that.
I think they've obviously got a lot of top individuals, and for the record, I think we will concede. So brace yourself for that one. But I think we'll have opportunities to score plenty at the other end. Like, for example, over the course of the 2 legs against Madrid, they score 3, but they also concede 6. And I think Liverpool will probably need to adopt that kind of blueprint to win this game. I think Liverpool would benefit from turning it into a bit of a end-to-end affair where you kind of, you know, you're both throwing punches and things like that, and you're using the spaces and stuff. I think if we give them too much respect and you let them play, which we did do at Anfield for like the final half an hour, I think you want to avoid that with City, because that's one thing City is still good at. I think when the ball is loose and there's no one's really in control and there's lots of transitions, I think that's when City struggle. And they've got Nico Gonzalez in, who is helping them with that. Saw his debut and he was really good, to be fair. So he's going to obviously help them, but they've also got like Gundogan, who's, I think he's about 48 now, isn't he? And he's certainly playing like it, mate. John Stones off injured. Kuzanov starts at the Bernabeu, and I'm on the fence about him. Rico Lewis, I hope Gakpo plays, because Rico Lewis is about half his size. So that's an easy out ball, I think, to use. Obviously, Salah always does well against City. So yeah, I think if we think right now we're vulnerable on the defensive end, the way we feel in this room now, City at that times too, at least, you know what I mean? The season that they've had, they are shaky, like, and they're trying to play a specific game, and I don't think you can play like that against Liverpool, because I think we've got too much physicality to just get dominated for 90 minutes like that. So yeah, I'm hoping for a good result here.
How's your optimism, Ali, on a scale of cautious to wild abandon?
I probably would agree with Josh there. I am cautiously optimistic, only because I think that City are... their fans have pushed the narrative of this being like of us versus them being sort of a derby of sorts, having that sort of level of needle and that level of intensity, and that's something that I think for us we need to take out of the game. I don't want it to turn into how it was at Goodison or when we played United, where it becomes more of an emotional game of football instead of it being just playing what's in front of us. Because at the minute, playing what's in front of us when it's Man City is such a peculiar outfit, and they're such an odd team at the moment. just due to obviously rotation and players they've got, as Josh said, that individually they've got world-class players still, but as a team it's still just not quite clicking. And I think we would benefit by trying to play into making City uncomfortable like we did at Anfield, because they want the tempo of their game to be at the forefront of any team, against any team that they play against, and I don't think we need to give them that luxury. I don't think we need to go in with the same respect we did with Guardiola's teams over the years. I think we need to go in actually with just a level of confidence bordering on arrogance to go, right, we're going to play our game and you can keep up with us. I know we're going away to the Etihad, but we're going to make this a bit of a basketball match and make you run round. Because as I said, 48-year-old Gundogan in midfield's going to have a horrible day. He's going to have a horrible half-time with all the oranges in the world. So I think that we have a really good opportunity, but I think we need to stamp out obviously what's happened over the last couple of weeks and make sure that we're physically and technically ready for the fight, because at games against City, there is no way that it's going to be 90 minutes of dominating them. It's going to go through peaks and troughs and phases in this game where City will come back into it. But we need either the scoreline to be on our side or enough threat and concern that we've showcased in the game so that when they do go into it, they're constantly looking over their shoulder and seeing Mo Salah on the last man, or they're seeing Dom Szoboszlai going to be pressing them, or they're seeing Trent Alexander-Arnold trying to play a ball over the top. So they're constantly cautious about how much application to their system they put into the game. But I'm cautiously optimistic, but I'm still wary that we just need to stamp out and make sure that we've learnt and rectified any issues that we've had over the last couple of game weeks.
In terms of team, Mike, a lot of it picks itself now. You know, we know the manager doesn't rotate unless he feels like he needs to. So the back four, I think he'll ask to go again. I think it's interesting. He's
You'd
not.
go Robert, would you?
I thought he was great last night. I thought he was really good, and I think if you're going to put Tsimikas in, I think I'd have used him in one of the other games for me. But maybe you disagree. But I think he'll go the same back four. I think the Bradley thing means he sort of has to. I think the midfield and forwards is maybe a little bit more interesting because he picks a fourth midfielder last night, Mike, and albeit push him up. But I think it's an interesting one. Josh there mentioned Gakpo. It's touch and go by the sounds of it, whether he's going to be fit or not. Obviously, we've got the extra day into Sunday to sort of get him right. But let's assume that Gakpo is not available to start, but is okay for maybe the bench. Do you think you'll bring Diaz back in and pick him with the other two, or do you think you'll look to continue with going with the four of them, who I thought all did pretty well, albeit Gravenberch in particular looked like he played a lot of football?
I think it all depends on what sort of level Gakpo comes back into training at, and how many minutes we think we'll get out of him, bearing in mind as well that there is another game on the Wednesday after and a long season ahead still. And I think my gut feeling probably is that it'll be Diaz, Jota, Salah as a front three, and then I don't know which one of the midfield misses out. I imagine it probably just goes back to McAllister, Szoboszlai and Gravenberch, that is probably our best midfield. Harsh on Jones, probably. But I think that's what we may end up falling back on, unless, Gakpo comes back and goes, yeah, I'm sorry, mate, put me in for 90. I'm going to score, put me in.
It'd be good if you said it exactly like that. Yeah. So
I hope that's exactly what he says. But
that's what he's been doing, learning skills.
Yeah. So I think it all depends on that. And who knows, was there any knocks that we don't know about? Picked up maybe in last night's game, tightness here and there. That's all what they found out today, and the next couple of days going into the game on Sunday. But I do see probably Diaz coming back in, and whether that's the fact that he gets 90 minutes and then starts on the left and gets moved inside when Jota inevitably comes off midway through the second half, possibly. I don't know. It'll depend on the game state at that point. In terms of where we are, I do agree probably with the rest of the pitch. There's been a Robertson and Tsimikas switching around pretty much all season. I think Robertson's probably found a bit more of a level of consistency now than what he had. There's a reason why the rotation's been there, and up for debate. Like, he's been used to being the left back from minute one, hasn't he? From his whole time at Liverpool, in the season's been a bit different. And it will be his third game in 8 days. So it's one of them where that'll probably be another substitution that we'll see on like 60, 70 minutes getting into the match. But again, all depends on game state. But yeah, I can sort of see us falling back into, right, this is our best 11 current available. Let's just get on the pitch and try and impose our way and take the chances that we create.
What do you think, Josh?
No, I agree with pretty much everything that's been said. I think the Robbo thing though is in my head a little bit, because he plays 68 in the derby. 4 days later, he plays full 90 against Wolves. Then he plays the full 90 against Villa, and then you got to go to the Etihad. And he's got probably a little bit scarred from the past with the Etihad, because he's, Foden's played games with him at times over there, and he's probably going to be coming up against Savinho on that side, and Savinho is pairing at the moment. So I think that's what I'm conscious of. It's not so much the individual; it's when he has a build-up of consistent games, like 3 a week, is when I worry about Robbo at the moment. And he's had 2 now this week where he's played the full 90, and this would be the 3rd, obviously, and it's away from home. It's the Etihad, top players. So I'm a little bit worried about that.
They'd have known about the games though, and so I just think if you're going to leave him out, then it's one of the last 2 rather than City.
Yeah, but I think earlier in the week, who did we face earlier in the week? There was a game recently anyway where I think the sub would have been Tsimikas for Robbo at some point, and he couldn't do it for
because
some
Wolves
reason.
gets too nervy. Do you think?
Yeah, it was something like that, or something, or Trent has to come off or something. It was something like that anyway. I think Kwanzaa comes on or something. But there was a moment anyway in the past couple of games where I've thought, I reckon the plan there would have been Tsimikas for Robbo, and he hasn't done it because of what else has happened. So I think if Robertson does start, I think he has to come off at some point. But the thing is, that probably applies to Trent as well.
Yeah.
So you could end the game with Tsimikas on the left, Kwanzaa on the right, which doesn't sound very good at the Etihad.
Well, if you're freeing it up though, Josh, then
there's that. Like, hopefully you're right there, but
What's your Diaz move, Ali? I would go with Diaz on the left, Jota through the middle, Salah up top. I don't think the way that and the tone the manager's sort of taken with Gakpo, I don't think he would want him straight back in at the Etihad. I think if it was a different game and it was in a different away ground, I think it may be a little bit higher up on his list of considerations. But I just think it's not worth it with the run and the games that we have left to then do further damage, and then it's 6 weeks instead of the 2, 3, 4 games that he's missed now. So yeah, I would start Diaz. I think the Nunez conundrum is going to roll on, but again, as Mike said, it's all about game state. So I'm unsure what he'll do with Jota, because obviously he said last night that the Jota and Trent substitutions were sports science based. So you can imagine they're both coming off maybe slightly longer than 60 minutes from last night, maybe 70, 75, but you're pretty confident that they're going to be rotated. The only other one would be is I would probably let Jones drop to the bench and go for the standard sort of midfield 3. I just don't think... I think Curtis Jones would be far more valuable if the scoreline is on our side because of his ball retention and how well he is and sort of clever he can be in midfield, than how he can often start some games, which is a touch slower than the other midfielders. So yeah, I agree with Mike. I think the team's relatively so picks itself.
Okay, listen, there's absolutely loads more looking ahead to this game on the Anfield Wrap. So, well, first of all, the post-match content, because it was really good last night. So if you download the app, subscribe, you can listen to me and some of the lads in a service station on the way back from Birmingham, and Neil Atkinson in city centre of Liverpool, having watched it there. So great post-match reaction from last night, but obviously looking ahead to Man City game on Sunday. So there'll be more reaction to the press conference and the ins and outs and what was said on there. And then Ian Ryan hosting pre-match warm-up. And then on the day on Sunday, we're going to take as many of as possible, just trying to figure out the tickets over to the Etihad and doing our post-match stuff on the road. Post-match pints will be back here in Liverpool. We think it's the best post-match reaction. I've said post-match a lot there in a short period of time, I'm conscious of. Best reaction to a game of football anywhere you can hear, in our humble opinion. So great times to subscribe. Do come and join us. Just want to give a final shout out as well to LFC Tours. Loads going on for half term. If you're wondering to do what your kids, there's over the last few days of half term, you're running out of ideas. Mine are bowling currently at the moment. My wife just texted me saying it was loud. That's her review of bowling with my kids. Loud. He's with his mate as well, so it's fun and games there. So if you're looking for more to do, the stadium tours, they've got absolutely loads on, treasure hunts, things like that for kids, right up to Sunday. Also, do want to give a shout out to the Legends Q&As as well, which are excellent, really well priced, I think. So you get the museum, you get the stadium tour, and then you get a little Q&A with a legend. It is Sammy Lee on Saturday the 22nd of February. That is this week, Sammy Lee. And then next week you got Phil Thompson. He's won fucking loads. So there you are, Saturday the 1st of March, 10 and half 11 if you want to book. Some tickets are still available. I'm looking at them right now. I think that is everything. Is that everything? Anyone else got anything they want to get off the chest? Was it good therapy? Do we feel better? We're going to win the league. I think Arsenal will drop Saturday. Just throwing it out there. I think they'll drop on Saturday.
I've got Forest marked up for that.
Have you?
Yeah.
No, they'll drop it all.
Shame,
They're
yeah.
fucking shite, lad. Up the Reds.